All right, so this is the Fischer Transalp 12 PT pin binding. It's very hard to find information on this binding on the internet, so we're gonna save you guys all the legwork that I did to do this review and just talk about some of the features, talk about why this binding is cool, and maybe the internet will populate more search results that we can actually use in the future. All right, so this is the Fischer Transalp 12 PT touring binding. Very similar to the Tyrolia version. Actually, it's the exact same, just the Tyrolia version is in a less cool color. So you get this very fancy neon green that matches the Transalp 92 CTI ski. Looks phenomenal, by the way. So if you're getting into a touring kit, this is probably what you should get. So this binding is really cool for a few reasons. One, really easy step in. Tyrolia and Fischer made a very conscious effort to make this binding easy to get into. So very low effort. Very easy to find the guide as you're trying to step in. It's even labeled for you, so for those of you that don't do too well with pin bindings, this is a breeze to get in and out of. Metal lugs, metal inserts, ski and hike mode. Okay, that's the toe. Really simple. This toe design has not, this is not a brand new toe or anything like that for the universe. This is a design that's kind of tried and true. You see a bunch of different bindings like the Salomon MTN Summit, the Marker Alpinist, a bunch of different bindings use a very similar footprint to what this toe uses, so we're not going to spend too much time on that. The other thing that's really cool is this binding and brake system is really easy to use. Okay, low effort. One of the things that I always hate about ski bindings is you're worried constantly about getting your fingers caught when you're releasing that binding, especially if you're running brakes. There's so many areas for your finger to get pinched in, but this is very low effort, very easy to turn, something you can do while you're awkwardly reaching back for the switch over for your transition. If you're not very good at transitions like me, this is a really good option. You have a flat option and two risers. Again, nothing groundbreaking there. But really what it is the combination of things that I really like. This has a bunch of different pieces from basically a bunch of different successful touring bindings that merge all into one. You can look at bindings like the Alpinist, the Summit, the Kingpin in certain instances, the ST rotation. All of those have some similar quality and some similar functionality to this binding here. The other thing that they wanted to do was they wanted to make this binding really lightweight, but they also wanted to make it skiable. So we have a free ride spacer, basically, that's what ATK calls it, it's what we're going to call it for this purpose, that allows the boot to drop less in this binding, so it becomes more aggressive for downhill skiers. Okay, that is just right underneath the binding plate here. You can't really see it in this, so I'm not going to spend too much time trying to show you. Din adjustment in the heel is really easy to find, really easy to use. It uses a full-size posi, which thank God, because the next time someone tells me I have to use a T20 bit to adjust my binding, I'm going to punch them in the mouth. So, posi drive bit to adjust both the forward pressure on this binding and the din, which is great. Tooling for binding should all be the same. Okay, we shouldn't have to use a tiny micro flathead, cough cough, Dynafit, and then also pull out a T20 bit and be like, oh yeah, this totally makes sense, this is the way we should be doing it. Shame on Dynafit for doing it that way. They've done it for way too long, and I'm sick of seeing it. They're the originators of the pin binding. Why can't they just make functional things for people to work on using all one tooling system? I have no idea. So, plenty of adjustment range in this binding. As you can see here, we have a total of 25 millimeters of adjustment. That basically means you can go within two boot sizes almost, depending on what your sole length is and what boots you're swapping back and forth, just with the travel and the heel, which is really, really nice. Again, the last thing we'll talk about is just the weight, including the stopper, including the spacer. We're at 320 grams, which is really, really lightweight. Makes this binding perfectly applicable to a lightweight touring setup, but still has the power of a higher end, more performance-driven pin binding. So really impressive product in the Transalp. I really hope that people get an opportunity to actually ski this thing because it skis extremely well, and I'm very impressed with how this thing has come together. And I really wish that more people would talk about it, because for this price point at $499 or something like that, $479, this is a awesome deal to get into a pin binding that works extremely well and will be reliable.